Gopi Jana Vallabha Kidavaradari Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanchabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanchabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopi Jana Vallabha Kidavaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Kidavaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanchabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanchabi Hari Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parvajakacharya Asatar Sata Sri Srimad Abhay Charnarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parvajakacharya Asatar Sata Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sri Mathura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai Rupanuga Veda College Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Gaur Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami. Text number 32. Prikshitavacha
Prikshitavacha
Aho
Ho
Adya
Adya
Vayam
Vayam
Brahman
Brahman
Tatsevya
Satseva
Shatra Bandhava
Bandava
Kripaya
Kripaya
Atitirupena
Titirupena
Bhavadbi
Bhavatvi
Tirtaka
Taka
Krita
Krita
Prikshitavacha
Prikshitavacha
Ahoadyas Vayam Brahman
Ho Adya Vayam Brahman
Tatsevya Shatrabandavaha
Satsevya Shatrabhava
Kripayatiti Rupena
Kripaya Titirupena
Bhavadbis Tirtaka Kritaha
Abhishtirtakagana
Prikshitavacha Ahoadya Vayam Brahman
Hoanyavayam
Tatsevya Shatrabandavaha
Satsevya Shatrabhava
Kripayatiti Rupena
Kripaya Titirupena
Bhavadbis Tataka Krita
Abhishtirtakagana
Prikshitavacha
Prikshitavaka
Ahoadya Vayam Brahman
Hoanyavayam Brahma
Tatsevya Shatrabandavaha
Satsevya
Kripayatiti Rupena Bhavadbis Tirtaka Kritaha
Parikshitvacha
Prikshitavacha
Aho Ajavayam Brahman Satsevya Kshatrabandava Kripaya Titirupena Bhavadbhistirtakakataha
Parikshitavacha Aho Adhyavayang Brahman Satsevya Kshatra Bandavaha Kripayati Tirupena Bhavadbhistirtakakitaha
Parikshituvacha Aho Adhyavayang Brahman Satsevya Kshatrabandhavaha Kripayati Tirupena Bhavadbhistirtakakritaha
Parikshitavacha Aho Adhyavayang Satseva Chatrabandavaha Kripayati Tirupena Bhavadbhistirtakakitaha Aho Ajavayam Brahman Satsya Kshatra Bandavaha Kripaya Titirupena Bhavadbhistirtakakitaha
Parikshitvacha Aho Adyavayam Brahman Satsevya Kshatra Bandavaha Kripayati Tirupena Bhavadbhistirtakakitaha
Parikshituvacha Aho Adyavayam Brahman Satsevya Satsevyakshatravandavaha Kripayatitirupena Vavahadbhistirtaka kritaha
Parikshiruvacha Ahodya vayam brahman Satsevya kshatra bandhava Kripayatitirupena Avadbhistirtaka kritaha.
Parikshit Vacha. The fortunate Maharaj Parikshit said, Aho, Adya, today, Vayam, we, Brahman, O Brahman, Tatsevya, eligible to serve the devotee, Satra, the ruling class, Bandhava, friends, Kripaya, by your mercy, Atiti Rupena, in the matter of a guest, Bhavadbi, by your good self, Tirtaka, qualified for being places of pilgrimage, Prita, done by you. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The fortunate King Parikshit said, O Brahman, by your mercy only, you have sanctified us, making us like unto places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we who are but unworthy royalty become eligible to serve the devotee. Report. Saintly devotees like Shukadev Goswami generally do not approach worldly enjoyers, especially those in royal orders. Maharaj Prataparudra was a follower of Lord Chaitanya, but when he wanted to see the Lord refused to see him because he was a king. For a devotee who desires to go back to Godhead, two things are strictly prohibited: worldly enjoyers and women. Therefore, devotees of the standard of Shukadev Goswami are never interested in seeing kings. Maharaj Parikshit was, of course, a different case. He was a great devotee, although a king, and therefore Shukadev Goswami came to see him in his last stage of life. Maharaj Parikshit, out of his devotional humility, felt himself an unworthy descendant of his great Kshatriya forefathers, although he was as great as his predecessors. The unworthy sons of the royal orders are called Kshatrabandhavas, as the unworthy sons of the Brahmins are called Dvijabandhus or Brahmabandhus. Maharaj Parikshit was greatly encouraged by the presence of Shukadev Goswami. He felt himself sanctified by the presence of the great saint, whose presence turns any place into a place of pilgrimage. Translation again. The fortunate King Parikshit said, O Brahman, by your mercy only, you have sanctified us, making us like unto places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we who are but unworthy royalty become eligible to serve the devotees. So the previous acharyas have prayed to their gurus that your mercy is all I am made of. Without the mercy of Guru, we are nothing. None of us would be here without the mercy of great devotees like Shukadev Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit, and His Holiness Dhanavir Goswami, His Holiness A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And the places of pilgrimage are visited for the purpose of hearing from the great saintly persons who are there. The saintly persons sometimes travel from one tier to another, and wherever they go on their way, they sanctify that place, and they go to the houses of householders, not for material enjoyment, but just to benefit the householders, because the saintly devotees have no attachment for any kind of material comforts. And Sukadeva Goswami, he was born in the province of Ketumala-Varsha. Ketumala-Varsha is in the Himalayan region. It's north of Darjeeling. And he was the son of Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God, who compiled all the Vedas. So Sukadeva Goswami was fortunate. Not only did he have a bona fide spiritual master, his father was his natural spiritual master. There's no evidence that he undergone any of these samskaras, but Srila Vyasadeva was his natural spiritual master, and he took the instructions of his father to heart because he heard Srimad Bhagavatam at the very early stage of his life. In the beginning, Sukadeva Goswami was an impersonalist, but after hearing about Krishna, he became attracted, even though he was already self-satisfied on the impersonal Brahman platform. Still, he was attracted by the activities and pastimes of the Lord. This means that the personal realization is higher than the impersonal realization. There are many examples of impersonalists who became devotees, but there's no instance of one who has realized Krishna going to the impersonal concept. So this is the natural evolution. Darwin proposed the evolution of the body, but Srimad Bhagavatam deals with the evolution of the soul. And this evolution begins by accepting a spiritual master, like Maharaj Parikshit accepted Sukadeva Goswami as his guru. And just to accept a spiritual master is only the beginning. One has to inquire from the spiritual master, and one has to render service. One cannot take knowledge from someone. If one takes knowledge from someone, one becomes indebted to that person. So the knowledge received from the guru is so valuable that it's impossible to repay him. So therefore, the only recourse is to dedicate our lives for his service. Because who can estimate the value of developing love of God, whereby one gets free from the miserable cycle of repeated birth and death in this prison house of the material world? And Maharaj Parikshit was very humble. He felt himself sinful because he offended Brahman, Shamika Rishi. So he felt himself that he deserved to die. There was no protest from Maharaj Parikshit that this is injustice. No, he felt that he was a culpable offender. Jai Sisi Gornatai. And Lord Shiva told his wife Parvati that of all kinds of worship of Vishnu is the highest. And even higher than the worship of Vishnu is worship of that which is related to Vishnu, like the devotees are all in relationship with Vishnu. So worship of the devotee of Vishnu is higher than worship of Vishnu himself. And in practicing devotional service, we have to accept Krishna as the supreme object of worship, and worship of Guru and Krishna should go along parallel lines. They're like the two lines of a railroad track. If the railroad track has only one line, it's not complete. So the aspiring devotee has to practice worshiping and serving both Krishna and the spiritual master. When I was in the Orlando Hare Krishna Temple a few years ago, there was a member of the congregation. He used to come to the temple about 4 nights a week, and he was very devout in seeing the deities of Shri Gauranatai, and he had a friendly relationship with the director of the temple, who was Jivakarma Maharaj. And one time he was asked if he was interested in taking initiation from Jivakarma Maharaj, and he said, "No, I don't want any middleman between me and Krishna." So this is the attitude of a Kanishthadikari. He has affection for Krishna, but he doesn't recognize the significance of the devotees. And before the evening Bhagavad Gita class, this gentleman would leave and take some prasadam and go home. This is his daily ritual. So it's very rare to find someone who's willing to hear from a guru. There are many devotees who are attracted to prasadam, and there are many devotees who are attracted to kirtan, but it's very rare to find someone who's willing to hear, even for 10 minutes, from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta used to say, I have many Dhanavat followers that they offer Dhanavats to me, but when I give class, they're impatient and leave the class on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's classes were very elaborate. Sometimes he would speak for 3 or 4 hours. And he noted that one boy, Bhaktivedanta, or he was known as Abai Day at that time. This boy, Abai, was interested to hear, so he marked this boy. I shall make him a disciple because he is interested to hear. Others, when I speak, they go away, but this boy stays and listens, so I shall make him a disciple. And since Srila Prabhupada heard from a guru, now he's interested to speak to the whole world and to glorify Krishna, and as well as his guru. And to accept a guru and not follow his instructions is useless. Or to accept a guru and become proud that I'm a guru, I'm a disciple of such and such guru, is also not accepted. Just like Ramharshan Sutta, he was also a disciple of Srila Vyasadeva, but he became puffed up. He was sitting on the Vyasasana, and when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Balaram, entered the assembly at Namasaranya, Ramharshan Sutta did not recognize Balaram when he was present before him, and therefore Balaram, to rectify this puffed up Ramharshan Sutta, he struck him with a blade of kusha grass, which ended his life. So this is the mercy of Krishna and pure devotees. Sometimes the chastisement makes the disciple uncomfortable, but it's very valuable. sometimes Srila Prabhupada would chastise his disciples so severely that sometimes they would break out in tears. Even Kirtana Maharaj, he was a grown man, but when he was having a Vyas Puja ceremony for Srila Prabhupada in Tokyo, he forgot how to perform the Vyas Puja properly, and Prabhupada chastised him so severely that he burst into tears, even though this whole ceremony was being filmed by a Tokyo television crew. And Malati Devi Dasi also, she says that sometimes Prabhupada chastised her so severely that she burst into tears. So a bona fide spiritual master sometimes gets angry, just like a father gets angry at his son. And this is for the son's benefit. One time Prabhupada gave a lecture in India, and he chastised this hippie who was in the audience, who needed to be chastised because he was envious, and the other members of the audience noted, "Oh, your guru got angry. This is not good." But they don't know. The Mayavadis don't know that it's the duty of the guru to correct his disciple. And it's also stated in the Vedas, Yasya deve prabhaktir yata te tatagara dasyate katita hyarta pakasante mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So just by developing implicit faith in Guru and Krishna, one becomes a Mahatma. A Mahatma is a great soul. Maha means great, and Atma means soul. So a Mahatma has an expanded soul. His heart has expanded. And every devotee is a Mahatma because he has an expanded heart. The devotee of the Lord, the Vaishnava, is interested in benefiting all living beings, all other spirit souls. It's like a bona fide Brahmin like Sukadeva Goswami. He's interested in making other Brahmins. And previously in India, before the British period, all the Brahmins in India, they had this attitude of elevating the people in general, even those of a lower caste. But when the British came, the British, they're very Janma oriented. They say that one's fate is determined by his birth. Now, birth also has an influence, but it's not the ultimate. The ultimate criterion of a person is quality and work, as is stated by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Guna and karma are most important, and the janma, the birth, is secondary. And during the British period, there was a discrimination against the Muslims because the British considered the Muslims inferior to the Hindus, and therefore that animosity between the Hindus and Muslims began in the British period, India. Previously, the Muslims ruled India for 800 years, and one could not rule someone if the people in general are not satisfied. Although the Muslims were rulers, they generally did not interfere with the Hindu populace. So Mahatma is one who is fully engaged in devotional service unto the lotus feet of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Are there any comments or questions? Donavar Maharaj.
Beginning of devotional service is described Atak Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhave Kram Indriyai Sevan Mukhi Jivados Swami Prajita. One cannot understand the qualities of Krishna, name, form, pastimes, etc., by his mental capacity. But he can be understood by devotional service, which begins with the tongue. Tongue is very important. Tongue should be engaged in tasting Krishna prasadam in proper amounts and chanting prescribed number of rounds minimum from the spiritual master. Then the Lord is easily reveals himself to such a person.
Thank you, Maharaj. This is very true. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your comments about the spiritual master. I was curious how one can remain humble and have this mood of submissive inquiry before one's spiritual master.
Say that again, please. My hearing's not very good.
My question is, how can one remain humble before the spiritual master and maintain that mood of submissive inquiry?
By realizing how great the spiritual master is, well, first one has to realize how great Krishna is. Krishna's created everything that we could see. He's maintaining everything. And at the end, there's Pralaya. Krishna will annihilate all the material universes. And Krishna's the source of everything. And in comparison to Krishna, what am I? I'm nothing. And in comparison to the Guru, who's representative of Krishna, I'm an insignificant insect. So by cultivating real knowledge, one becomes humble. Even the great scientists like Dr. Bose used to say that I've just collected a few grains of sand in the ocean of knowledge. So, Dr. Fred.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances and thanks for the nectar class. I was wondering how, how I become obedient to the devotees, and two, how do I not become puffed up when I do, when I do get a spiritual master?
Well, this is similar to the previous question by Jai, that by cultivating knowledge, if one understands Bhagavad Gita, how opulent Krishna is, then no one is more wealthy than Krishna, no one is more knowledgeable than Krishna, no one is more strong than Krishna. no one is more famous than Krishna. And in comparison to Krishna, I'm nothing. Krishna's the most renowned. Krishna's the most everything. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Patornath Prabhu.
Our dear Krishna Shravanam Prabhu, will you please kindly explain to us how the devotee of Krishna is better, more merciful than Krishna?
Yes. Krishna's the ocean of all mercy, but Krishna's also very, very strict, and sometimes the spiritual master is more lenient than Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Balaram, other incarnations of God, like Balaram and Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, and the Panchatattva, they're more merciful than Krishna himself. Although they're non-different, but their mercy is manifested. Therefore, in the Vrindavan, devotees chant, Radhe, Radhe. They want the mercy of Radharani because Radharani is the internal pleasure potency of the Lord, and she's the kind-hearted counterpart of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna.
There's an example of that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. A devotee was rejected by Lord Chaitanya. He wouldn't let that devotee come and see him because he had done some things incorrectly, wrong. But although Lord Chaitanya was very strict and hard, the devotees were still encouraging that devotee. Don't worry, he'll give you his mercy. Just be patient. And they were being very kind to him. And eventually, it did turn out like that he got Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And so the devotees were very helpful in keeping the devotee with faith to keep trying rather than to become disheartened.
Yes. And there's the pastime of Jagai and Madai, where they injured Lord Nityananda by throwing a piece of pot and striking Lord Nityananda on the head. And Lord Chaitanya, when he heard of this, he became so angry that he invoked his Sudarshan chakra, and he was ready to kill these rascals who offended his dear associate, Lord Nityananda. But Lord Nityananda reminded Lord Chaitanya that your mercy is not to kill the offenders, but to save them. So Lord Nityananda's mercy is very essential for every one of us, and they have appeared here as Gauranga and Lord Nityananda, or Krishna and Balaram. And the Guru is the representative of Lord Balaram. So the Guru is the mercy manifestation of Krishna. And the bona fide Guru in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, he restricts his disciples, whereas the so-called Guru who wants many followers, he doesn't place any restrictions. Like there are many cheating gurus who want to make a business of being guru. Like there was one Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He was instructing the Beatles and George Harrison back in the 60s. And this Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was selling this mantra, and At that time, the most influential persons in my life were the Beatles, and my favorite Beatle was George Harrison. And when I found out that they had gone to India to Rishikesh and they had become followers of the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, I also became a follower of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and I also paid $35. Nowadays, $35 for a mantra is like equal to $400. So I got the mantra, and it was a secret mantra. I'll tell you what it is. Aing. It wasn't really a mantra, it was a syllable, aing. Just chant this aing, and Maharishi used to say that you'll get transcendental knowledge. But a bona fide guru doesn't sell a mantra. It's not a business, but he gives the mantra freely. Like Ramanujacharya, his guru gave him a secret mantra, and Ramanujacharya's guru said, "Don't tell anybody about this mantra. It's secret, and it's so powerful that it'll give you liberation." And Ramanujacharya said, "Oh, this mantra will give liberation? I want everyone to be liberated." So he went out to the streets and distributed this mantra. And his guru became angry. I said, "I told you not to tell anybody this mantra." But he said, "Guru, you told me that this mantra gives liberation. I want everyone to be liberated." And his guru said, "You're greater than I am." So a real guru feels for the suffering living entities who are imprisoned in this material world, and he tries to do good to all the living entities who are suffering repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, and various species of life. It's time for the Sankirtan Festival. Thank you for patiently hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Our glorious His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So this week we had 5 book distributors, in 5th place with 0.1 point is, with 1 Back to Godhead magazine, is Radhastali Mataji. Haripol. In 4th position with 1 Bhagavad Gita for 2 points, Valmiki Prabhu. Chai. Everybody please grab some instruments, and this is for the pleasure of Sri Sri Gauranatai, Srila Prabhupada, Tulsi Maharani, and the Sampradaya Acharyas. I'm not qualified to distribute it, Prabhu. Okay, 3rd position with 24 small books, 3 medium books, 14 big books, 18 Maha books, Bhakta Damodar Prabhu, Ki Jai, Haribol. And 2nd position with 5 Arabic small books, 52 magazines, 24 small books, 7 medium books, 18 big books, and 23 Maha books, Bhaktavatar Das. And in first position with 2 medium books, 2 big books, 1 Chaitanya Charitamrita set, and 2 Srimad Bhagavatam sets for 183 book points. Jivadaya Prabhu. I don't know where Jivadaya is, so I don't know if he can give us a memory. So in the meantime, I guess I'll go. I was at Target and was walking down the aisle. We were there for like just a moment. It was really slow. So decided to leave, but on the way out, we saw this one nice looking young boy and kind of just all of a sudden spoke to him, gave him some books. He's like, this is cool. And, most people give like 20 or whatever. So he sends a Venmo for $50. So I was like, whoa. You give those ones back and you take this one. And I gave him the Sapta. And he was cool. He's actually just graduated high school. So he now has Prabhupada's books at a young age. Haribol, Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. So Bhaktavatar and I were at Walmart. Yeah, Bhaktavatar and I were at Walmart, and we ran into some Christian lady, and we were talking, and she was like, "Oh, you guys are Hare Krishnas. I know about Hare Krishnas." We were like, "Yeah," and then she started inquiring, and somehow or other, I managed to get her to appreciate what we were doing, and she took Ishopanishad. And all right, Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. I don't have any highlights, but I am grateful for everyone that's going out distributing books. I give the Back to Godhead to a friend that comes every once in a while, and she's been reading the Bhagavatam, and I just thought I'd give her something to also kind of see more pictures and articles by devotees. So, yeah. Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.
Shri Gornatai Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Rupanuga Vedic College Ki Jai. I'll tell the total book score really quick. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I forgot to count the books total, but we did a total of 336 book points.